A proud portal. Well, a lot of portal talk today, if you saw my earlier post. Talking portals, you know, my son's not here today. He's on a secret mission. So it's just going to be me, myself, and I today. Oh, did you hear that? Oh, listen to that sound. Not entirely, not inappropriate, I think. Wow, I don't know where that's coming from. Sometimes when you turn on the intergoogle and you hear sounds like that, I get a little scared. Other times I just go in and say, you know what, it's all good. Folks, how's it going out there? I don't see anything going on here at the Restream chat. Let's see. We are going, as far as I know. We are live. I want to just make sure here I can see it. Oh, there we go. We're seeing some comments. Yeah. Welcome, one and all. We're here on a Thursday. You know what I was doing today, ladies and gentlemen? Solidifying my taxes. I'm almost done. I just can't wait to pay the govs a big old chunk of sweet, sweet skadoodle. Actually, I'd rather wait. But, you know, what are you going to do? You gotta pay the man. Think you understand? Oh, wow. I like that. I'm going to put this over here. Sorry, I'm just sharing it, ladies and gentlemen, because I'm a sharer. I'm a sharer of things. I'm going to put it over here. I'm going to go to the group. Greg Koch's Gristle Kingdom. Are you guys members of the Gristle Kingdom? What a fellowship. I think you should be involved. You'll find that your life is so much more rewarding as a member of a fan community on Facial Book. Who's with me? It's not wrong. No, sir. No, ma'am. What am I doing here? I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to go Koch Marshall Trio. I'm going to post that as well. All right, now I'm going to get to business. What's going on out there, you crazy kid? You are a member, Tim Lyles, you savage rascal. Tim, let me just tell you how much I enjoy your voice of sanity in these strange times. I enjoy your posts. They're so well done, and I applaud. I applaud your vision, Tim Lyles. Can I say that? I applaud your vision. You know what? Oh, Isla just came in the other room. She's got a savory banana, and it looks like a cup of water. Live it up, child. Sometimes just a neck pickup on an old Gibsonione is... magically changed. Did you see that? How about some Crossroads you have? That amp gets no rest indeed. I've got it piping hot. Actually, it's not as loud as it usually is because when Dylan's in here, it gets really loud. But since he's on a secret mission, he's not here today. So I don't have to play over the... When will Toby arrive finally and join Dylan? And, I don't know about that, but I appreciate that. Actually, Toby's going to come down, not this weekend, but the weekend after that, and we are going to do some recording to try to finish up our record, and then also do some live streaming. Who's ready for that? Who's ready for a little full band streamage? Koch Marshall Trio coming on strong. Keith asks, Skype or Zoom lessons, Greg? Yes. I do Skype lessons. We could do Zoom too if that's the way it works, but you just go through my website, gregkoch.com. Doggone it. You can find a lot of exciting things there. One of them is Skype lessons, and I've been doing a few of them lately, and I enjoy it. I think people get a lot out of it. I'm usually heavily caffeinated, and forget syllables apparently, but I give you a lot of stuff in a very brief period of time, and sometimes people's heads explode, and that's not a good thing to see online or really in person or no matter where. But I give you your money's worth, let's put it that way. And then there you go. What mic is on the amp, says Gregory Ford, Nongrum. I have a It's a mic I got years ago. It's an M audio mic. It's a condenser mic. And I actually have it in between the two speakers, just hanging down in between the two speakers. So you're not getting the full thwack. There you go. Spider Logan says, Brave New Blues is a great book. Recommended. Thank you very much. You can also get that at gregkoch.com, as well as my variety of my records as well. You know, this is a Wildwood spec. Today is our Wildwood day. This is a Wildwood spec 57 custom shop Gibsoni. It's really light. It's so light. It's so fun. And it's not weight relieved either. It's just really light wood. And doggone it, they sound great. Oh, sin, repent, repeat. That's the intro, and then I gotta grab a slide. I haven't played this one in a while. That's a little bit of that. That's a little song called Sin, Repent, Repeat. Going to put the Fishmans in my new custom shop Strat based on your person. Oh, man, you're going to dig them. As a matter of fact, I just got a set of those Fishman Fluence pickups that I'm going to put in my old custom shop Strat that if people have been know anything about my back catalog, and years ago I used to play this blue custom shop Strat that I'd ordered from the Fender Custom Shop in like 1991, and it was made by an individual by the name of Jay Black. And I've had a few different sets of pickups in there over the years, and I'm putting in the Fluence because they sound so damn good. That white Strat I have with those Fluence pickups, which I'll play in a minute, sounds so damn good. Eric wants the Rex Charmer. Oh, doggone it. So my next question is tips for playing slide in standard tuning. Well, Jacob, I do have a book and video with that very topic, but to give you kind of a little primer, boy, you know, I like to use my fingers on my right hand for a muting technique. Originally, I got this because I think when I was in 8th grade, I got a book, slide guitar book, at the B. Dalton bookstore at Mayfair Mall in beautiful Wauwatosa, Wisconsin. It was a book by Arlen Roth. Fine guitar player and excellent instructor as well. And I learned this dampening technique with my right hand, and then later on I saw that Dwayne Allman did a similar thing and lots of other folks. But basically, I use my third finger on the high E string, my middle finger on the B string, my right hand I'm talking about, first finger on the G string, and then my thumb drapes over the bottom here on the bottom 3 strings. And I pretty much stick to that template, if you will. I will switch around a little bit because whenever you're doing kind of faster passages, you have a tendency to default to your thumb and first finger, but then I always go back to that initial approach. And I find that if you slide up to notes, just sliding up to notes before you do anything just gives it that accent. then just find, when you're in standard tuning, find where the double stops are, the triple stop. There you go. Can you dig it? So, and I always like to back. Sometimes I go on the bridge pickup for the slide stuff, and then just back off a little bit on the tone control. But with these Fluence pickups, they have a second voice that's a little hotter. So I'll usually go to that bridge pickup and go to the little hot mode, or else I'll go to the middle position. Middle position, then maybe do a little bit more, just a hair of neck pickup in there as well. Something like that. Can you dig it? A little bit of that. The fiber optic is better. You know what? The only thing that's weird about the fiber optic is that I'm hardwired with the computer that you're currently viewing this on. It's I'm hardwired to the router, but the router itself, I mean, it's still exponentially better than it was as far as the connectivity was before. Although my family might refute that, but if you go on speed test, it's way faster, but it's still not great. So it's better to be hardwired, or else I'm going to have to get some what do they call it, mesh? The technical term. I'm going to get something to have a mesh of internet service throughout this domicile. Anyways, can you dig it? Can and will you dig it? What are the common keys or tunings for slide guitar? Well, certainly open E is one, and that's just going your E string up to B, your D string up to E, your G string up to G sharp, that's that for open E. Sorry, I had to remember. I had to remember my open E-isms. What kind of tuner do you use? Alex, you know, it fluctuates. I have a bunch of nice Fishman tuners. This one's temporarily out of juice, so I'm using a Snark right now. And, but there you have it. You know, a lot of people have a hard time with headstock tuners. I like them because I don't like having stuff on the ground. And I've always thought that pedal tuners mess with the tone a little bit. And even the ones that don't, they're still on the ground. And there's something about just being able to turn down the guitar and just look at the back of the headstock and go, oh, look at that. So the smaller they get, the better it is. Yeah. Can you dig it? We have the mighty Paul Brown and Ian in the house from Robert says, Lukather gave you some nice compliments on your playing. That must make you feel pretty damn special. I know I would. Yes, of course. He's a legend. He's a legend. And so to have him say anything at all is wicked. Right? Someone asked about the action. Yeah, the way I play slide in standard tuning, I don't really change the action. It's set, you know, however the action is set up for regular manipulation is how I have it for slide. So I don't have a special action thing for that. Ever jam with Rycooter? No, I certainly have not. That would be awesome, though. Oh, thank you, Bernice. That's very nice. Hello, Master. Which finger do you advise a beginner to use for slide? Any physical or technique issue with using the pinky? Thanks. That's an excellent question. You know, I started using the pinky for slide when I first started. It's because it made the most sense because you use these other fingers. But then I started using the third finger pretty early on after that. And I've fluctuated back and forth over the years, but in the last probably 20 years or so, I've used it on the third finger. And 20 years? Yeah, probably. Oh, Lord. Anyway, and the reason is because when you use your pinky, first of all, you're just not as handy with your pinky as you are with your third finger. You just don't have the coordination. And also, the pinky has a tendency, see how it's a little more, it goes a little horizontal instead of being perfectly perpendicular? Boy, that's hard to say. You have a tendency to just be always at a slight angle. So it's always, you know, you always kind of have to think purposefully, boy, a lot of P words today, about keeping that slide perpendicular to the strings. And it also has a tendency to be a little bottom heavy. So it's always on the bottom three strings, but sometimes comes up a little bit on the top three strings. So it's not evenly distributed over all the strings. Does that make sense? So when I use my pinky, not only am I more, shall we say, fluid in the manipulation of the slide as a result of being on the third finger and not the pinky, but it's also much easier to keep it perpendicular to the strings, and it automatically just kind of adheres to all strings with the same, you know, vigor. Is that the word I'm looking for? Maybe it is. Anyway. And you could still comp with, no, it's not, this guitar is not chambered, it's just really light. You could still finger, but just now instead of using my first three fingers, I use my first two and my pinky. Right? Yeah, absolutely. Is that the Gristle Tone pedal I hear you playing? Actually, not right now. I'm just going straight into my signature Koch amplifier. And chords. Actually, I do have a little pedal in the loop. The other day I got a little hankering for a little bit of of a phaser. So I got a little Phase 95. Sounds good with that little phaser issue as well. Other than that, I'm just going straight into the amp. So that's the clean sound. And then if I want a little heat, I can add the OTS to the clean sound. It sounds like... Or I can put it back to the clean sound. Go to the lead sound. And then I can put the OTS on that sound as well. Or I can go back to that lead sound, and there's a gain boost on that channel. Bit of that Zeppelin filth. Zeppelin filth is good for your soul. Zeppelin filth is good for your soul. Am I right or am I right? I got a double dose of the coffee right now, and I'll tell you what, it's hitting the damn spot. Oh. Yes, indeed. What is it, Thursday today? Anyways, get the idea. This amp is delicious. It does have the harmonic vibrato on board. So that is not the phaser. That's the harmonic vibrato that's on board the damn amp. Am I right or am I right? For some reason, the chat went awry. Sometimes, you know what? I swear at technology often, ladies and gentlemen. I don't want to apologize for it. Sometimes I just go crazy about the technology. Frank, best wishes to you and your family from Frank in Glasgow. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And to you as well, my friend. Little Jimmy, that is correct. A little bit of that Villanova Junction. Can you dig it? I'm going to switch over to my signature Reverend guitar. I should say that Wildwood has been doing some special editions of my guitar available in only certain color. Well, it's always available in certain colors. But there are special colors that Wildwood is doing. One of them is this orange, which we call Clockwork Orange. See what we did there? It's also available with a Paul Ferro neck there. Oh, I just love the way that guitar sounds. Sorry, let's control it for a minute. Is the Koch amp available in the UK? Would love to try one out in person sometimes, but haven't managed to. I believe it is available at a few different distributors over there, or stores, whatever you want to call it. You can check it out. And you know, if you go to Koch Amplifier website, it'll tell you what's happening. Bob asks, do I have any, hang on, what did I do with that damn, oh, here it is. About the treble bleed thing. Actually, my pickups that come on this guitar, my Fishman Fluence Gristle-tone pickups, you don't have to worry about the treble bleed because it's a feature of the pickups. You don't lose any high end as you turn down the volume. So I can get that. Turn it down. It's a modern C on here. restring this guitar. It's getting a little wiggly. But this guitar is available. Also, the black version of the guitar with the bigger neck profile. It's more like a 56 V, October of 56 V neck. Big and girthsome. But Wildwood actually has them in stock right now. For the longest time, they didn't have any in stock because they come in and they sell. But I checked on them this morning, and they do have some Gristle Masters in stock. So if you want one, I would say pounce if that's what you like to do. Can you dig it? Bob wants to know about regular, normal pickups, about doing the treble bleed. I don't know exactly I would just say whoever your local tech is, unless you like to work on guitars yourself. I've never worked on my own guitars, so I usually just bring them into a couple different techs I use in town and say, hey, do me a favor, put that treble bleed mod on my volume control so I don't lose any high end. It's a resistor cap thing that they do. And then away you go. Can you dig it? You've got the black one with the beefy neck. Excellent, yes. Greg, can you accommodate an alternate payment method besides PayPal for lessons? Yeah, I could definitely do the Cash App or Venmo or something like that, if that works better. Greg, it would be kind of badass for a guy like you to renounce expensive guitars and start playing Squires with your pickups, of course. I don't think there would be so much. Well, actually, this guitar is tricked out with everything that is needed for a good steadfast rodgering. A good steadfast seeing too. My buddy Dudley over in the UK said, hey, I've got your amp here and I'm giving it a good seeing too. That's my new favorite expression. But yeah, I mean, this guitar is relatively inexpensive and compared to something that would be tricked out like this by a custom shop that we might know of would be exponentially more expensive. But yeah, I mean, you can get a very inexpensive guitar and put some nice pickups in it and put different hardware on it maybe and so on and so forth and let the good times roll. I mean, it's just a matter of what inspires you. It's really not a matter of better or indifferent. If you have there was a guy the other day that made a comment on a picture I posted of there's a place in the UK that has about 4 of my Gristle Masters in stock, and he was aghast at how expensive these guitars were. And I was like, you know what? I'm glad you like your less expensive guitar. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm glad you like it. But the inference that there is some gouging going on, it's like, listen, the pickups alone are $350. Why are the pickups so expensive? Because it's cutting edge technology and nothing sounds like them. Okay? So they sound unbelievable. They do a thing that nothing else does. And then this guitar itself is tricked out. And then when you get the guitar, I was talking to a guy I was doing a Skype lesson with last night. He got his new Gristle Master. He said, I took it out of the case and it was in tune. It's like, yeah, because the people at Reverend set up their guitars, and when they arrive, they're like, oh my God, I can go to a gig right now and play this thing, which I do. The same setups that they come from the factory from Reverend is how I play my guitars. So all of that's got to be worth something. So if the guitar is worth every penny. So I just don't like that thing where it's like, whoa, like someone's trying to pull one over on you, diggity dog it. And the same is true for custom shop instruments. Well, guess what? That guitar is going to be worth money. It's like money in the damn bank. Is it a tit for tat money in the bank? Well, it's better than a lot of investments. You can enjoy the damn thing. If you're a musician, you can write it off on your damn taxes. And when you want to sell it, you're going to be able to make some money. So what do you want? So if you want to play an inexpensive guitar, welcome to it. But if somebody wants to spend a little bit more money, they're not suckers. Okay? Thank you. Sorry, I get a little mad. Yes. What do you think about G&L? I love mine. Brandon, I have never owned a G&L, but certainly I've enjoyed them. I've played a few over the years at stores and so on and so forth, and I think they're great guitars. I've just, for whatever reason, never had one. There you have it. Where is Dylan, missing the great drummer kid? You know what, Marcio? I'm sorry. Sorry, I didn't see that. I thought that was an L there. What did did I just say? Anyway, he is on a special secret mission today that he had to go to today. He's sussing out a purchase that he wants to make, so he had to leave. There you have it. Yeah, I get a reverend in my hand, I start preaching. Am I right? Hi from the UK. Hello there, Tim. Hi, Greg. Do you use any of the IK Media software? I do like the IK Media software. I did some stuff with working with them a while back, and iRig and so on and so forth. I do enjoy that stuff. It sounds good. Most of the time, I just plug straight into an amp. 1,200 in the UK. That's good, I think, right? Yeah, well, that's what it is. I think that's about right. How much is your SIG in that orange color? It's the same price as everything else. There's no extra cost for the secret orange. So if you're interested, you can go to the Wildwood Guitars website. As a matter of fact, Paul might even be able to put a link on our secret wall here to let people know what's happening. Is Dylan going to buy a bass drum that doesn't move around when he plays it? You know, Michael, that's an excellent question. One you can rest assured that I've asked. But that has been a problem all along. He just is a big savage beast, and he hits that bass drum like a doggone Sasquatch in heat. And they move. I remember we were playing, and especially if we go someplace and there's a house kit, it's just #poop show. You know what I mean? Have you listened to Papo Blues from Argentina? I have not. Are you planning a semi-hollow thing? Not currently, although that's an excellent idea. The next one we're worrying, I just got the word actually, is that people have been asking about the next version of the Gristlemaster, which is going to have P90s on it, P90s that are a new signature set of Fishman Fluence pickups for me that will debut on a new Reverend Gristlemaster guitar. That'll be Gibson scale, set neck, with the new P90s on it, Bigsby, ebony fingerboard, Carina body. It's going to be delicious. Hi, Greg. Do you think about scales or modes, or do you just not think about it anymore? I probably, I don't really think about scales when I'm playing. I just kind of go for it. But certainly over the years, I've learned all that stuff. Someone asked if I was school. I did go to school for music. Some people think that's funny. I saw somebody, you went to school for music? Well, how dumb are you? Well, here I am. I did go to school for music. For jazz guitar, and I didn't really want to be to play standards, although I can play a few standards. I just want to know how to be able to play over changes and be able to read and write music, and I pretty much learned that, and it has served me well over the years. But most of my stuff I learned from records, and then made it up, or you learn from people as you go along. Is that a scorched, torrified neck? Yeah, it's roasted maple, correct. Earlier when you were playing with the phaser, did you sweep, walk up, or tooth? It sounded like Steely Dan. Can you explain? Did a sweep, walk up. Did I? I can't remember if I did. Or like a... I'm sorry, I don't remember. Did I ever play with Ronnie Montrose? No, I have not. Someone asked about the hybrid pick, and I use my pick and my fingers, and a good way to just get started practicing. Start practicing banjo rolls, and you can be sitting around watching TV. Too slow at first. So it's like pick, middle. So I pick on the E string, middle finger on the A string, third finger on the D string, and then go to the next string set. Do the same thing. So pick on the A string, middle finger on the D string, third finger on the G string. Kind of go back and forth. Go to the next string set. back and forth. Get that going for a while. And then you'll be rocking with docking. And Greg, so how much is a $3K custom shop worth a year later used? Well, that depends. That depends. Depends on what guitar it is. It's going to go down a little bit in price, but it's still going to be worth a good chunk of change. Hey, Greg, any tips on getting a good dirt tone on a Gristlemaster neck pickup besides awesome amp? Love the guitar. You know what? Whatever. You know what I used to do a lot of times when I go into stores? I was doing clinics and traveling around when I was doing some fisherman clinics. I'd go in and I would just tell them to have like a reissued deluxe, and I'd just turn that sucker up to about 7 and keep the tone controls around noon, and I'd turn the amp up to 7. Sometimes just turn it around so I wouldn't like destroy the front row, although sometimes they needed destroying, depending on how big the place was. But turn it up to about 7, and then that neck pickup should be a rockin'. And then, or you just, if you got a whatever overdrive pedal you have, from a Tube Screamer to a Gristle King or whatever it might be, you can get a... A mighty neck pickup sound. Comments pausing while Jimmy, right? That's always the right time for Jimmy. Have you heard Steve Vai's new song, Candlepower? No, I have seen that a little bit. He's great. He's always great. Ever play with the thumb pick? You know what, Eric? I just never got down with the thumb pick. I was too late. By the time I was doing the Travis picking thing, I was already just kind of doing it with the pick of the fingers. It just feels so weird to me. The cover of the Guitar Gumbo book is the greatest thing ever. Well, it's a troubling picture of me dressed as a chef. You know what was funny is we got to Germany to do this. We were on tour and we showed up to play this gig. I think it was outside of Hamburg somewhere. And we showed up and we were part of this festival series. And I show up, and that picture is on the cover of this brochure in the hotel. It's like, hey, we got this music series, and here comes Mr. Because, Koch in German means cook or chef. And here I am dressed as a chef. There I'm in the cover of the doggone pamphlet for the music series. I was like, oh, for the love of cry. But hey, what are you going to do? It's better than nothing. It's better than not being there at all. Maybe. Oh. Yes. You play Dungeons and Dragons? Is that what D&D is? No, I haven't. Most underrated guitarist, Peter Green. Actually, I think Peter Green's rated pretty damn high, to be honest with you. He's a legend. He was basically playing for, you figure he played in Mayo's Blues Breakers right after Claptone. And so that would put it like late 65, 66. And then he was pretty much done with his run with Fleetwood Mac by 1970. I think he may have done one extra little tour, maybe in 71 when Jeremy Spencer bolted. But and he's still revered today. There's people are just infatuated with that period of time, which is great. He played beautifully. Great tone, great singer, great songwriter. Those jams were epic and very tasteful. But yeah, the fact that everyone still reveres him doesn't mean he's underrated to me. It's weird. I don't know what people mean by underrated. You mean that he doesn't have a castle? And I don't know. If we look at what is revered in today's society, maybe it's good to be underrated. Am I right or am I right? Lord have mercy. He gave his guitar to Gary Moore. Yeah, and then Gary Moore sold it, if I'm not mistaken, to Kirk Hammett. That's a hard name to say. Any Pete Townsend influence in your playing? Absolutely. Anytime you're on. Rhythm rocking. Jack Pearson is phenomenal, but I think most people that know who Jack Pearson is thinks that he's magnificent. So I don't know what the underrated. You mean not popular? That has nothing to do with quality. Am I right or am I right? So he's magnificent. You go to Nashville, you see Jack Pearson, your brain will explode. And he's magnificent, and he's a hell of a nice guy. And I think any guitar player, musician, fan of music who goes to Nashville goes to see Jack. The place is packed, and he's rocking people's brains. Now, is he well known, traveling all over the world? He doesn't want to do that. So if you don't know about Jack Pearson, get hip to him. He's magnificent. Can you dig it? Leland Berg is underrated. He'll say right now, in no uncertain terms, I am underrated. Leland, it's okay. I rate you very high. Jack Pearson with a Pearson. Scott Henderson is magnificent. I've always been a big Scott Henderson fan. But hey, you know what? Enjoy it all. There are musicians everywhere. There's great musicians in your very hometown that are probably world class, that play to half-filled rooms and so on and so forth. And people don't treat them very well. But you know what? They're doing what they love to do. But just remember that when you're in some place and you think it sounds good, I think this sounds good. Chances are it is. And so enjoy it and treat that person with respect. Doggone it. Halface says, I'm a little overrated. Now, Phil Keaggy's magnificent. Someone asked for a little bit of that song known as the Unrepentant. That's what that Someone asked for my favorite jazz chord. I like that chord. A raised 11th or a flat 5 with a 9th in it. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, Scotty Anderson's magnificent. Mainline Florida, Lawton Child. Here's another chord that I find hideous but delicious. Do-do-do-do-do. Oh, let's see. Dear sir, what kind of speaker is in that amazing sounding amp? Ceramic or Alnico speaker? Rob, that's a good question. It is a Jensen Jet speaker. I believe it's an Alnico. Actually, they said, hey, how do you like that speaker? I go, I dig it. It's a Jensen. Jensen Jet. We thought Jensen Jets would sound good. What do you think? I got the amp. I was like, it sounds great. We're done. What other questions do we have here? Hey, Grego, do you have a favorite exercise for neck finger speed building and coordination? Thanks, David in California. Well, greetings, David. Boy, not really. Any three 3-note per string scale is good. That's what I like to do. It's in A Dorian. Oh. So. Well, and then you can go either. Or like. It's kind of a cool one. Another good one is. I like that one. Sometimes when I start doing that stuff faster, my second finger creeps in there quite a bit for hybrid picking. Hi-yo-ho. Buddha. How about some diminished runs? Oh, Lordy. So an A. Or you can go half step, whole step. Jesus. Something like that, right? So if I, like on the fourth measure of a blues, I might throw in some of that diminished activity, so. That's another one. I like to do sixths and diminished. Oh, you know, stuff like that. Someone's all go. Greg, recent forum thread. Most creative country guitarists were discussed. Several of us suggested you, but agreeing you do more than country. What is your future? Blues, rock, or more country? That's a good question. You know what? The Koch Marshall Trio record that's coming is kind of a me. There's some chicken picking aspects to it, but it's funky. It's funky stuff for the most part, and there's some cool ballady stuff in there as well. And I'm probably just going to do a straight-on like blues. I've been doing a lot of on these live feeds. I've been singing some of these old tunes I used to do back in the day, some cover tunes that were kind of fun. I might do that just for the hell of it. Do like a bluesy rock thing just for the fun of it. Why not? Am I right or am I right? We'll just do some live, filthy blues rock, funk filth, a little bit of that chack and pecking in there for good measure. Jackin' packin'. Somebody asked, is it weird that people seem to gravitate more towards the shredding instead of the soulful stuff? And it's like, I don't know. I do whatever I want to do. And, sometimes, of course, it's like you'll play a good bluesy thing, some funky, soulful stuff, and then they're like, play Spankin'. And I'm like, okay, all right, I'll play it. And so it's kind of all of it. But I will say it's kind of funny is that you can play all kinds of soulful, crazy stuff that's very tastefully done and so on and so forth. But then when you do the note salvo crazy stuff, they're like, oh, he overplays. And you're like, okay, all right. If you want to pigeonhole me, pigeon away. I can take it. Speaking of pigeons, I'm always telling my wife, I was like, beware of the red-winged blackbirds. Because I like to walk, and my wife walks with me in the evening. I walk in the morning, and I'm always like, listen, there's a certain area, if they're nesting, they will dive bomb you and crack your head. And she's like, no, that's not true. And I'm like, so every time I'm not with her and I'm walking, I get attacked by a red-winged blackbird. So this morning I'm walking along, boom, I feel something in the back of my head, and like I'm like, what? And I see the shadow of the red-winged blackbird over my head, ready to peck again. I'm like, you little son of a gun. I will take you and I will roast you open on an open fire and I will feast on red-winged blackbird. So I got about a block away and this mom was coming with her son. I was like, listen, I don't want to sound crazed, but beware of the red-winged blackbird about a block down. She's like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, we'll see what happens, sister. You're going to get pecked into oblivs. Whatever. Anyways. Red-winged bastards. You are correct, Joseph, Jojo, Joey. They're savages. Chris H. says, what are you currently practicing or learning? It's always something. This morning I was messing around with... I opened up the real book and was messing around with a couple tunes. I was working on this old Schofield tune that I used to play back in the day. And so it changes from day to day. Sometimes it's just maintaining my repertoire of my tunes, which if I don't keep up on, they're hard. So I do that. But I also I just listen to a bunch of different stuff and try to learn new tunes and address them in my way. And also just maintaining the vibratos and all that kind of stuff. I will sit down and play along with Albert King and B.B. King and Albert Collins and Otis Rush and Creamy Eric Clapton and Hendrix and Peter Green and whatnot. I'll just do that just to make sure that not to try to do what they do exactly, because I'm never really about that per se. I like to just kind of get inside their heads and go, okay, I see what's going on there, and then add it to my own stew, you know what I'm saying? So I can serve it up piping hot. It's so damn delicious. Is it 4 o'clock already? Man, time flies when you're pounding the damn gristle. Am I right? What's on your playlist right now, asks. Is it Petter? Sorry about that. It's, well, if I open up my iTunes, let's just see what'll happen if I put on shuffle. Songs, shuffle. Let's see what comes up. Bob Marley and the Wailers. Let's see what the next tune is. Sonny Treadway. This is a Holy Church from the Sacred Steel record. Let's see what the next one. Slip Away by Clarence Carter. Sonny Ra asks, thoughts on 10 versus 11s as far as strings are concerned? Gallows Pole, Led Zeppelin. I like 10s because that's what I end up having to play most of the time. Like if I'm at Wildwood doing a bunch of videos, those guitars are all strung with 10s. There was a period of time where I had 11s on my telly, and I dug them quite a bit. But since I was playing 10s all the time, if I was playing at Wildwood or if I was going overseas back in the day when I was doing the Fender thing, and I would just kind of grab a guitar off the wall, they all had 10s on them, so I thought, you know what, I'm just going to, 10s it is. So, anyways, let's see what else we got here. We got Neil Young. Everybody knows This Is Nowhere. People ask what's on my iPod or my playlist, and this is just doing on shuffle. We got Robert Johnson, Kind-Hearted Woman. What else we got? Frank Zappa, Dirty Love. We got Joni Mitchell, Amelia, live. We've got Harry Connick Jr., Trouble. That record, that She record, are you kidding me? It's fantastic. Cream, Lordy Mama. Mother's Invention, King Kong. Little Feat, Church is Falling Down. Shuggy Otis, Shuggy's Boogie. I didn't put this on there, but it's Pretty Lights, Until Tomorrow. That's one of my kids put that on the list. Albert Collins, Avalanche. Ba-doo-daddle-doot. Anyway. Can you post it and make it public? I'm sorry, Buzz. I think I missed it. What were you asking me? Were you asking me to post my list of tunes or a tune or something? None of your music on shuffle. I actually have a bunch of my demos on my phone, especially all those tunes I wrote with John Seeger that I never recorded yet. So it'll come on. I'm like, oh my God, I forgot all about this tune. I should work it up. Somebody asked what kind of strings. NYXLs, 10 through 46 by our friends at Diodario. What was your first impression of Eddie Van Halen? I had the first 3 records. And then by then I was kind of done. Only because everyone else was like, ah! And then MTV was on, and I just wasn't into it. Sorry, but plenty of other people were, and they dug it. And I've softened much with age, but back when you're trying to, what am I doing? What is my thing? Well, it's not that. Now I'm like, hey, cool, whatever. You know what I'm saying? How did you become so confident to play what you want and ignore other people's opinions? Well, it came, you're always aware of other people's opinions, but you just can't give a lot of vested interest in emotions of what people say. You know what I'm saying by that? So, because you need to know what people like and what they don't like as far as what you do, to the extent of, just being aware of it. Because you got to eat. But for the most part, you just got to stick to your guns and do what you love doing. And if you do that, that genuine nature, usually, if it feels right, people dig it, chances are you're going to be all right. You know what I'm saying? Dig it. How do you like to transition between chords and soloing, chromatic runs? Or you know what? I just kind of go, especially if I'm playing just by myself, Huh? Something like that. Do you find that the roasted neck changes the tone at all? I like the sound of a roasted maple neck. I find that they just don't move around as much from a technical point of view. You don't have to worry about adjusting your neck as much. What is your social security number? Rick. Eric Rubin. You're a rascal. Any advice on pushing and pulling your playing? That sounds a little dirty. But I like where you're going at. You know what? Play with a metronome every now and again. Or play along with tracks or whatever the case may be. And just realize where the beat is. Sometimes you push. Sometimes you lay back. You got to be cool with it. You got to just kind of roll with it. And just be aware of where time is at all points. And you can feel yourself going, you just be aware of where time is and converse. Greg, what's your favorite sock? Christopher, that's a bizarre question. What kind of socks do I have on today? I have kind of a tropical situation. I got tropical guitars and palm trees. Is that weird? I don't think so. Zep-wise, I love the 77 Listen to Eddie. You know, that's a good one. Boy, they were rough in 77. There was some really good stuff, and there were some other times like, oh, but how many nights were they in L.A.? It was like 4, 5, 6, something. There's some good stuff in there, but old Pagey was, his vitamin regimen at that point in time was, not that I'm judging, okay, but it sounds like I am. But having listened to a lot of that tour, but you know what's unfair about that tour, to be honest, is that a lot of them are board mixes, and when you hear the stuff from the crowd, the sound of Page's guitar is just roaring and awesome, and sometimes they were miking up cabinets that weren't, where his gain wasn't really up to where it was in reality in the house. And also you only hear the upper part of the alembic bass that Jonesy was playing. He had the bottoms and the highs sequestered, and you only hear the highs, and it sounds hideous. But you hear, house mixes where they're out in the crowd, and you hear kind of a combination of all the above, and the stuff starts to sound pretty good. Then it disguises a little bit of Page's, shall we say, wandering hands when the gain is up, and then it sounds all right. But when you hear it's all plinky, like when he does the song remains the same, and some of those things where they open up with that tune and it sounds like it's just clean. It almost sounds like one of those Shreds videos, and you just like, oh, Jim. Oh, Jiminy. But he had the dragon suit on, had the smoke hanging out of his mouth and the sunglasses. You're like, hey, there's Jimmy Page. What a cool cat. So there you go. Yeah, Page's sleeping sickness. Yes. Absolutely. Sleeping sickness. What could that be? We don't want to judge, but let's be honest. There was some... we watched this morning. My son and I were watching the old. In '83, I was a big fan. I had on VHS tape they played the Arms concert, the Ronnie Lane multiple sclerosis benefit with Clapton, Page, and Beck. Yeah, that's a pretty good show. There's some interesting things that go on in that. And then they did like 3 dates after that, and some of that footage has made it to YouTube. And boy, old Pagey, woo doggy, whoa, Lord. Dragon Pants work as a buffer. Right on. Love the beanie, Gregory. Thank you very much. Yes, Dragon suits do make everything okay, Ryan. They absolutely do. So there you have it. All right, folks, it is 4:14. I should probably quit, but thank you so much for tuning in today. Appreciate it. Dylan will be back with me tomorrow when we do our Fishman Live at 4 p.m. Central. This has been our Wildwood takeover. Again, if you folks are interested in my signature Reverend instruments, I know that they do have some in stock at Wildwood, and I say that because people wait for them to come in. Thank God, they've been selling up a storm. But it's a magnificent guitar. I'm not going to lie to you. It's a absolutely fantastic guitar. So there are some available at Wildwood as we speak, as among other glorious instruments that are lurking. And what I really got my eye on, folks, and I've been not pulling the pin, one of the reasons is because things are a little uncertain right now. I don't know if you're aware of that. There's a little uncertainty in the world. Not sure exactly what's happening. Gigs not exactly percolating. And tours canceled for the, you get the idea. But a Tom Murphy aged and painted Les Paul of some sort. Now, those are extraordinarily pricified, but damn, they're so good. That's one of the things people talking about, the price thing. It's like, yeah, they are a little pricey, but doggone it. Every time I play one, I was like, I want this guitar. It sounds, looks, and plays so doggone great. But I also need to feed myself and my family. So I have to, cost-benefit analysis needs to be done. That being said, I want one, and I know they have them. I go to that website myself. You know what? I got the sickness. I haven't been out there in 3 months to Wildwood. And usually when I'm there, I'm doing those videos. People are like, I really enjoy. You seem to really like that guitar when you were playing it in the videos. Like, I like them all. And when I'm playing them, sometimes I'm like, I should really buy this guitar. That's a problem, right? So I haven't been out there in a while. So I go on the new arrivals page, just like everybody else, wildwoodguitars.com, and go, look at that one. Oh, now what is that Tom Murphy come and done? He's painted some Wildwood spec delicious morsel. Oh, look at that. Look at that price. I better keep this one secret. So there you go. All right, folks. I got a Whitfield Telly. I have a Whitfield Telly myself. Actually, my buddy George Davies has it right now. But it's glorious guitar. You played my 60th anniversary Les Paul. Yeah, I probably drilled on it a little bit too. Don't do any DNA. Don't blacklight it. Don't blacklight that guitar. That's all I'm going to say. That sounds dirty, but rest assured I enjoyed it. Let's see what else we got here. What time Central missed because of the buffering? Tomorrow Central Time, 4 p.m. Central. Tomorrow we'll be back. Do you regret selling? I always regret selling everything. Are boutique bursts better than genuine 59? Well, I'll tell you what. The custom shop guitars are pretty phenomenal, but when you play an old one, of course, there's a thing with the old guitars. It's they just have not all of them are magnificent, but when you play good ones, I've had the good fortune to play a few of Mike Slabowski's. I've played a few of Joe Bonamassas. I played one down in Dayton when I was down there for the guitar show. Someone brought up a 59, and I played that. That was fantastic. But anyway, Throbbing Gristle, indeed. Blackmore. You are interviewing Satriani. Any jamming? No, I interviewed him yesterday. It was fantastic. It was great. He's such a cool dude. And it was cool just asking him a bunch of guitar geeky questions. And he was more than forthcoming with the info. So it's going to be fun to get that one out. I bought a Thin-Skin 64 because of you, Telly. Oh, those are magnificent guitars. I'm glad you got one of those and are enjoying it. Have a good 4th. You too, doggone it. What brand of Telly? What brand is this? This is my Reverend Gristlemaster guitar with my signature Fishman Fluence Gristletone pickups on board. They come stock. And this is in Caulkwork Orange, which is a color tone hue that you can only get at Wildwood Guitars. Can you dig it? Rory Gallagher. Love Rory Gallagher. All right, folks. We will see you on the morrow. Thanks so much for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Thanks to all the folks at Wildwood. Thanks, of course, to my buddy Ryan Fitzsimmons out there in beautiful Boston, who kind of mixes from afar. He gets on this computer and is able to dial things in and so on and so forth. So a lot of fun. Thanks for the entertainment. Thank you. I've watched tons of videos. You and Josh Smith work well together. Yes, we love playing together. It's always a good time, and we'll do more of it. We were supposed to do this tour in England together, at least kind of cross paths and do a workshop together and a couple of gigs together. But obviously, because of COVID-19, it's probably not going to happen. Better than chances than not. Greg, you should get on the Satriani and Vi G3 tour. That probably won't happen. I would do it, of course, if they asked, but the problem with those tours is there's no problem for them. It's magnificent. They always do a great job, and I think people would come out and see me with the band play. So if they would want me to do it, I would definitely do it. The only problem I would say is that they probably would go with somebody who's drawing. I mean, you got to remember, Satriani and Vai are two of the largest selling instrumental guitar players of all time. So when they do a tour, it's like, who else can we get that are up to our level of sales that will make a successful tour? There you go. All right, folks, have a good one. We'll have a good remainder of your Thursday, and we'll see you tomorrow, 4 p.m. Central, for our